It happened. After 6 long months, Deltarune.com/chapter4/thankyou was opened once again. Welcome everybody to another Deltarune video. This video is a bit of a sequel to one I made 6 months ago about Deltarune's ARG. I strongly recommend watching that first if you haven't already. As a quick recap, Deltarune has started talking to us through its website. Specifically, the site Deltarune.com/chapter4/thankyou has gone up a total of 3 times in a little over a year. The site features 2 input boxes in which you can submit your email address and your answer to a question that's in the header of the site. After the second time that the site went up, the responding emails gave us a lot of hints pertaining to the question being asked. How long did it take her to smile? In my video, I looked over all of the hints that were given to us and determined that this smile belonging to Noel Holiday is going to happen during Chapter 5 of Deltarune, or Sunday, as it would be in-game. Specifically, I suggested that it might happen during the hours of the festival, anywhere from 12 hours, or 12 PM, to 24 hours, or midnight. I then proposed that in preparation for the time that the site opens again, and the question how long did it take her to smile was asked once more, we use this time frame in combination with a Discord server and a spreadsheet, and assign 720 people to 720 different minutes, covering the entire second half of Chapter 5 Sunday. However, it quickly came to my attention after the release of the video that it wasn't going to be so easy. It appeared that the only people that got response emails for the second attempt at the question were also people that input their email in the first attempt, 7 months before this in May. This complicated things, to say the least. Despite the eventual 6,000 plus members that would join the Discord in the coming months, only around 90 of them would come forth with having response emails from May and December, only 35 of those having a December response email with the message "move forward with this answer," and "until next time" as the email header. This meant that we had to change the initiative to spreading out across the 720 minutes to any that seemed particularly important. For example, 777 minutes, all of the untried hours, 5:55 PM, things like that. By the end of May, we had also started focusing on text-based answers, since even though the question didn't seem to be particularly encouraging when it came to anything but amounts of time, a lot of the worded answers still worked in December and gave us some of the most interesting hints. Keep in mind that at this point we were still operating under several assumptions. 1, that the site would ever be opened again at all. 2, that if it did, the question would still be the same. And 3, that there was some kind of correct answer that the hints were leading us towards. This all came to a head on June 9th, 2026, the day of the Nintendo Direct. We got a Chapter 5 trailer, the first newsletter in what had been the longest amount of time between newsletters by far, but no another chance email, and the site stayed closed. Until about 8 hours later, the site actually opened. After 6 long months, those 2 dark blue boxes and the 1 gray button was staring back at me. But there was a huge problem. The question wasn't the same. It had changed. No longer how long did it take her to smile, but now where will it take place? But there was something even more concerning. With the site's reopening, an email was sent out to all of the eligible responders, or at least some of what we thought were eligible responders. It became quickly obvious that only those with "move forward with this answer" response emails from December got this new email, which was titled "What about next time?" with a link to the site. If this meant what it seemed to mean, that only those with "move forward with this answer" response emails could answer this new question, then it cut the amount of people that we thought would be able to participate worryingly low. In my server of 6,000 plus members, down to 35. And of course, we weren't gonna have 6 months to try and answer this question. No, instead, we'd have 24 hours. The situation was bad, but it wasn't completely hopeless. 1, we still had 35 individuals, including myself, who were guaranteed to still be in the running. Somewhat low, yes, but still quite a lot to cover a decent amount of potential options. 2, this question still seemed to be about this particular smile, the same one we'd been theorizing about for the last 6 months. So even though our answers had to be different, the main theory could still help us decide what to answer. In 24 hours, we managed to get almost all 35 of our VIPs locked onto unique answers. Where will it take place? We answered Festival, Ferris Wheel, Roots, Field of Pink and Gold, Dark World, Light World, Hometown, Forest, Hospital, Her Room, Our Room, Dessa's Room, The lake, In My Embrace, With Me, and that's only 15 out of 35. What were the responses to these? Well, as of this video, we don't know yet. There's one more step to this whole thing, which is what happened when the site closed after 24 hours had passed. The last two times, when the site went down, the input fields in the button were replaced by the thank you that the site would tell you when you successfully submitted an answer. The question would remain in the header. However, this time it was completely different. The header of the page did not keep its question, where will it take place? Instead, it was replaced by interim result in all caps. The body of the site also didn't have the usual thank you, but instead some data and a note. Available entrants, 1,517. Total received, 1,229. This number, 1,517, confirms what we had already suspected, that only those with response emails from May and December of last year were eligible to answer the question. For the entire Deltarune community, 1,517 people is really low, but it makes sense when you consider the niche requirements for making it this far. First, you would have had to find, or someone will have to have shared with you, the website when it first went up in May of 2025. If you recall, this website is hidden at the back end of one of Sweepstakes' website chains, with the site just before it being one of the most puzzly that we've ever seen. Then, you would have had to figure out how to actually use the site, paying attention to its reprimands like unknown contact and she never smiled, and this all would have had to be done within the 24 hours of the site being created. After that, you will have had to answer the question when it went up again in December, but not only did you have to answer, but your answer had to be something that would garner a move forward with this answer response. And at the time, there was absolutely no way to really know what would get you eliminated and what would not. Finally, on June 9th through the 10th, you would have had to lock in a response. We already know from the interim results posted on the site that 342 people just didn't show up for this third attempt, eliminating them from being eligible responders. Currently, we don't know whether or not there's going to be another way that this forum is going to cut us down. We don't even really know at this point if this is the end of the ARG. But what we do know is that, quote, the next correspondence is when less than 24 hours are left. This has to mean the 24 hours before Deltarune Chapter 5 releases on June 24th, the countdown for which is displayed on Deltarune.com's homepage. At this point, we still haven't gotten our response emails to the new questions, so this correspondence must mean the moment that the response emails come in, June 23rd. And so, that's where we are right now, waiting for June 23rd to see what the responses have, and to see what the future of the ARG is going to be. And then of course, 24 hours after that, and we will have Chapter 5, the chapter in which we will presumably see Noelle smile. So there's a few things I want to talk about in the rest of this video while we wait for June 23rd. Number 1, is this going to be the end of the ARG? And number 2, what can you do to help and engage with this whole thing? So let's first talk about where this ARG seems to be going. What are we going to get on June 23rd, and do we think that it's going to continue past the release of Chapter 5? So first of all, both of the questions that have been asked so far are talking about a specific event of Chapter 5, a smile, one that'll happen during a certain time frame and in a specific place. We know roughly when, and on June 23rd we'll probably know where. But it's interesting that this smile, the one that the site has been teasing us about since before the release of Chapters 3 and 4, is a Chapter 5 thing when we have Chapter 5 releasing in a few days. One would think that maybe this whole thing is just a teaser for something that's going to happen in Chapter 5, and that there's not going to be any reason to continue it once everyone has played the chapter. However, I don't necessarily think that this is the case. First of all, we're forgetting the detail that the number of eligible participants for this ARG has been narrowed down substantially, with the first official reveal of the number being just a few days ago, 1,229. If this whole ARG is just going to give us teasers for a Chapter 5 event, then what would be the point of slicing down these numbers to a select few? Why not just update Spamton Sweepstakes with new pages, like they've done in the past? To me, the fact that there's this whole element of narrowing down eligible participants tells me that there's got to be more to this than just teasing something about Chapter 5. And it really feels like we've only just gotten started with this whole thing. The first attempt was basically nothing, the second attempt just taught us how response emails work, and the third attempt is the first one that gave us an interim result. But most importantly, the line on the site about the next correspondence correspondence clearly says the next correspondence, not the last. You'd think, and especially with this correspondence being put on 24 hours before Chapter 5 comes out, that if it was the last one because of Chapter 5, it would say so. So is this going to be the end of the ARG? Well, I think there's plenty of reasons to suggest that it won't be. If it continues after Chapter 5, of course, what's going to carry over is the small number of participants that have made it this far. The responses that we'll get on June 23rd, responding to everyone's answer to the new question, will also probably cut down the numbers even more. For example, last time a lot of people were eliminated if they submitted one of two very popular answers, 11 or 1225. The responses to both of these numbers reprimands you on following the pack and not being original. With a lot more eligible responders joining the Discord after our initial organization of the original 35, it's become very obvious that Festival and Ferris Wheel are the two most popular answers by far. And while I don't think either of these answers are bad, they are certainly not very original. If the ARG extends very far into Deltarune's future, I could imagine a situation where very few people are left at the end of it, maybe down to 100 or less. Maybe these people will get some sort of personalized prize or code or something. It's very interesting to think about. But what if you're not a part of the lucky 1,229 that can interact with the ARG? What can you really do to be a part of this? So as of writing this, we've accumulated 158 of the 1,229 in my Discord server. They're all organized on the sheet with their answers to the new question, and they all have a special role in the server. When the response emails come out, every one of them will be posting their email in a special channel. Now, if you're in this Discord server, you can of course very easily spectate this and join in on the very interesting conversation that is sure to be created by what these emails have to say. In the last attempt, I could not tell you how split up and scatterbrained the entire community was. People putting their response emails on Twitter, Reddit, random spreadsheets being shared around, owned by who knows? No single place for a discussion, just absolute chaos. With a Discord server like mine, we can have a much cleaner and organized place to talk about what's happening. And looking forward to if a new question gets asked by the website, well again, we have 158 eligible entrants in the server, 13% of all of them across the entire community. They are already marked on the spreadsheet, so they're all primed and ready to be assigned to some unique answer that we can brainstorm in the server to answer the new question. If you aren't one of those people, the server still offers a great opportunity to talk with all of them, and by sharing your insight, you might get one of them to submit your idea. So even if you aren't an eligible participant, you can still very much contribute. So yeah, June 23rd at 8 PM Pacific time is the moment we're waiting for. If you want to witness it happen, all you have to do is join the Discord and tab into the hashtag response posting channel. Then, of course, we'll be in the 24 hours before Chapter 5 comes out, which I haven't even talked about at all in this video. The server will also double as a place to talk about Chapter 5, so if you're looking for a place to do that, then it's another reason to come join. But yeah, that sums up pretty much everything that's been going on. I hope I see all of you in the coming days for the next correspondence, and of course for Chapter 5. Thanks to all of you for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.